Well, happy 4th of July, everybody. Hopefully you're enjoying it. And seeing some fireworks. You might be able to hear them in the background. We got a lot of, them shooting them off in the neighborhood, actually. This was from last night at Eisenhower Park. And then coming back tonight, actually, I was lucky enough to see a little more right in my neighborhood. Right over my head there, somebody actually shot a nice shell off right there. So, pretty nice. We've got a lot of fireworks going on around the neighborhood tonight, especially all over Long Island. You can hear the rumbling around. It's the sounds of freedom. But anyway, you can see a lot of clouds around today. Obviously, not a really clear sky today, but the sun was out, hazy sunshine. It was humid, but not all that hot. But before we talk about today, let's talk about yesterday. Yesterday, we also had kind of a junky sky as well, but it was fairly comfortable out. The humidity was still fairly manageable. Upper 70s, low 80s for yesterday for highs. This is all we had for lows. Though West Hampton got down to 52. Islip got down to 61. And it looked like we had 50s also in a good part of New Jersey. So it was much cooler yesterday versus today. We'll go and we'll look at our current conditions right now. And you'll see that the humidity has definitely come up quite a bit. We'll look at Islip right now, which is 73. Dew point is 72. Looking at, you can see, so when we go back to yesterday, July 3rd, you can see dew points were in the 50s, started rising through the low 60s, still fairly manageable. And then as we got to today, probably I would say by the afternoon, dew point temperature started reaching the 70s, and that's when you really started feeling the humidity. It wasn't all that hot, and there was decent breeze on the South Shore, so it didn't feel too bad out there, depending on where you were. So let's look at our highs for today. Current temperatures right now, we've got mainly 70s across the area, so a lot warmer now than it was this time yesterday. Highs today, generally across Long Island, low 80s again. 89 in Carl. I don't think it hit 89 here. I'm pretty sure it didn't. I think those readings might be a little errant. Because LaGuardia was 86. How could we be hotter than LaGuardia? But probably mid-80s in Central now, so low 80s and upper 70s if you're on the South Shore. And Central Park got up to 86, 81 at Islip. And Jersey, of course, looks like it was allowed. 93 in Toms River today. 93 at Miller Park. So much hotter in Jersey. Wow, it was a brutal day in Jersey today. We didn't have any of that kind of heat here at all. I have no idea it was that hot at all over here. I'll tell you that. It was decent breeze. Lows, yeah, not that low. Upper 60s mainly across the area, though. It did drop to the mid-60s in New Jersey, believe it or not, west of Toms River. So a low 64 and a high in the 90s. That's quite a range in temperatures. We do have some activity on the radar tonight. So let's go ahead and look at that right now. Actually, before I do that, let's get the climate stuff out of the way for yesterday. So let's just go back to yesterday's climate thing. So we'll go back one here, July 3rd. So yesterday we had a high of 80 and a low of 61 at Islip, 3 degrees below normal. Central Park had a high of, we're going to go back again to high of 83 and a low of 69, 1 degree below normal. So meanwhile, we go to today, and high was 81 and a low of 69. So that puts us very close to normal, just 1 degree above normal at Islip. However, Central Park, high of 89. Wow, it was much hotter inland. High of 89 and a low of 70. They were 3 degrees above normal for the day. The high was 5 degrees above normal. So you can see it was much hotter inland. That's the trend that we're seeing right now. If you're on Long Island, it's going to be a lot better versus in New Jersey. So now let's go to the radar, and you'll see that we do have some showers and thunderstorms in New Jersey. None of them have severe warnings in them. See, they're mainly over central Jersey. We'll get a better look at them on this radar here. And again, I don't think there's anything severe here, but it will bring some rain. Luckily, I think they're going to be able to finish up the Macy's fireworks in the city before these move in. Jones Beach, it should be good for a while. Well, the fireworks should be finishing up soon as well. So it looks like most people were able to get the fireworks shows in without any threats of thunderstorm activity or rain, and that's fortunate. So let's look at the let's pull this out and look at the country as a whole, and we'll put this on highs as well, so get a chance to see where the heat was. So you can see the heat inland. A lot of heat inland, especially you can see where all these heat advisories are going from New Jersey into the south. We got heat advisories. You can see highs generally in the upper 90s. And then we got excessive heat warnings in Arkansas. 99 at Little Rock. That's brutal right there. Look at that. It's 90 degrees with a dew point of 79 at Little Rock. I have a feeling the dew points might have gotten into the 80s there, too, from that. Let's see. Not quite, but very close to an 80-degree dew point there at Little Rock, Arkansas. This humidity is just unbelievable, I'll tell you, that this thing. So that's why I got the excessive heat warning, because while all these highs may not be records, when you combine it with the humidity, it definitely is very hot. And then also lots of excessive heat watches and warnings out in California as well. A lot of highs in the triple digits here. 120 at Needles. Oh, my God. 110 at Edwards Air Force Base. 112 at China Lake Naval Facility. So you can see the kind of heat they're dealing with. Yeah, it's dry heat, but it's still ridiculously hot. You can see in the mountains kind of escapes this heat here. Let's see, 109 at Madeira. And that was their high for the day. So very hot July 4th in the west. 110 for a high at Red Bluff. They're right now 109, but the dew point's 38. It's very dry, though, and that's very ripe conditions for fires. They got red flag warnings, heat advisories, and all kinds of stuff. Only right along the coast you get some kind of relief here. Just going to... again, they make these so hard you cannot see the cities when they make these things so hard. So I'm trying to see Sacramento here. Probably gotten to the mid-100s there. 106. YOLO, 104. So really hot conditions. And this goes way up into Northern California, too. Look at that. How about 114 at Big Bar? 106 at... so this is the kind of... This is some real... I mean, the dew points are low, but this is still really, really hot. And take a look. Eureka was only 69, but you got mountains. The sea breeze can't make it in very far. 105 at Humboldt State Park. Oh, my gosh. 124? Is that... That's not real. I don't think that's a little extreme. 113's here. So 111 for a high at Redding. That's got to be a record. That's crazy. All right. That's insane. That's insane kind of heat. And this heat goes all the way up to in Oregon. 104 in Rogue Valley for a high. This heat goes all the way up. And it's going into Portland as well. We got 90s. And let's see if Washington so far is escaping the worst of it. But yeah, this is some pretty extreme heat. And I'm sure a lot of records have been broken in California here. Sacramento got up to 108, by the way. So, yeah, that's insane. That's just insane. Now, let's go to Redding, California, and see if that was a record. Because that had to be a record. That had to. And look, it's going to be hot all week long. Look at this. There's no end in sight for them. Redding Municipal Airport. And that's Sacramento, California. So let's see if there are any notices on records broken here. And, of course, they don't put anything up on their thing. Of course, if you check their social media, probably nothing. They just want to be quiet about it. I can't believe that's not... All right, record high temperature today in Stockton. The high reached 108, which tied the previous high set back in 1991. All right, so there was some record here. And there's a wildfire. Evacuation warning. Residents is being turned to evacuation warning if the residents are allowed to... Okay, so we have... Again, this is not going to be a good situation. I'm sure that they have some wildfires and extreme heat. So it says a long-duration heat event. So, interior North California. So you're in a bake there, basically. It's just going to be... it's just going to be unbearable type of conditions over there. It really is. So... You know, it could be worse, and they're really dealing with it. They've got a huge heat dome over there right now. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. So let's go look at the satellite image across the country. We'll also get to talking about Beryl, of course. You see Beryl here getting ready to hit the Yucatan. Oh, yeah, I do see a lot of smoke over here in the southwest as well. So let's go to the southwest first of all, because it looks like we have several wildfires going here. So let's see. It seems like it showed up better on that one. Yeah, it doesn't seem to show up very easily here. But there are fires here, but it doesn't look like there are any big ones. I'm not seeing any really big fires here, at least. So, well, I don't know. It showed up on there, but I guess because of the way that it was angled, that particular view. Oh, yeah, you can see that there is a fire here. All right, look over here. Northern California, right where my hand is. You can see that there is a fire that is developing right there. So, it's and you can see there is hard. You can't even buy a cloud over here. That's incredible. You can't even buy a cloud. And let's see, even in the heat, let's see, Flagstaff even got to 91 today. So, wow, look at that. 100. So, they're really dealing with some pretty severe heat in the southwest here. Phoenix, 111. It's just a whole, I mean, it's just a lot of heat going on. So, we're actually, like I said, we're getting off fairly easy. So, let's talk about Beryl. Let's go and talk about Beryl right now. So Hurricane Beryl is weakened now. So we're gonna go to the it's closing in on the Yucatan. Beryl is approaching the Yucatan Peninsula. Hurricane force winds, dangerous storm surge, and damaging winds expected there overnight as of 8 p.m. Its location 19.5 north, 84.8 west, about 180 miles east southeast of Tula, Mexico. And its maximum sustained winds are 110 miles an hour, moving west-northwest at 20 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure 974 millibars to 8.77 inches. They are expecting it to weaken rapidly once it crosses the Yucatan Peninsula, but then it's going to begin re-intensification once it gets back out over the Gulf of Mexico. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 30 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward to 160 miles from the center. NOAA buoy 42056 over the northwestern Caribbean recently reported a sustained wind of 56 miles an hour and a gust of 65 miles an hour. So, yeah, we're going to want to look at that. Let's we'll go to the satellite in a minute, but let's go back to these observations here and see what kind of observations we can get here from. I'd like to get some observations from the Cayman Islands, too, and see what they experienced as well. That dew point 79. My God, that's impressive. It's unbelievable. If you think it's humid here, that's even more humid than what we're dealing with. We're dealing with dew points in the low 70s. So let's see what they got out of it. It looks like they did get some gusts up to 52, or is that 62 perhaps? But it doesn't look like the worst of it hit Cayman. It looks like it went to the south of Cayman. But still, even getting brushed, Jamaica got brushed, and parts of especially the southern areas here, got hit pretty hard. Jamaica is a fairly large island. You can see all the heat advisories that we have that are extending into New Jersey right now. So let's go and look at our weather map here. And, the satellite for, let me do that too. So let's go to the satellite and look at Beryl. So here's Beryl right there, still looking pretty healthy. I still see blow-ups of convection. Yeah, it's undergoing some shear, but it's still holding its own. And, there are hurricane warnings in effect for the Yucatan. If we go to the National Hurricane Center thing here, the warning cone, you'll see that there are hurricane warnings in effect for this part of the Yucatan Peninsula. The leeward side, the north side, will have tropical storm force conditions. But then it's going to become a hurricane again, and it could threaten the Texas coast for it making another landfall in somewhere in South Texas or northern Mexico along the coast there. That would be this would be on Sunday. But the Yucatan is going to get impacted probably tomorrow afternoon, So tomorrow afternoon or maybe late morning hours. So this is the next area that's going to get hit, and this time the whole storm is going to go and hit land. So it's going to be a lot more could be a lot more damage this time compared to Jamaica. And even though Jamaica was hit hard, parts of it were hit hard. Let's go to the tropical tidbits here. We'll take another look at Beryl here, and yeah, still holding its own, man. Yeah, it looks a little raggedy, but you still see convection blow-ups here and there. Still decent amount of convection blow-ups as well. So that's still a pretty healthy storm right there that you got. Pretty healthy storm. So there's a barrel right there. Right, so going back to the Hurricane Center here, we'll just go back here. Nothing. They're only watching one other area, and that's it right now. If we go look at the satellite imagery here from Modus, we'll go to that, and let's take a look at Beryl on here again. This is the high resolution. You can see definitely compared to yesterday. This is Beryl yesterday. Yesterday it looked a little on the more raggedy side versus the second. You can see well-defined eye now. On the third, you can see how it's definitely undergoing some shears at Brest by Jamaica. Now it's weakened further, but it's still a pretty substantial storm. The reason why nothing is developing behind is we have some dust coming off Africa, which you can clearly see here on the satellite, and that's going to help to suppress any more activity in this part of the Atlantic. But still, the Gulf and further west, we can still see some more activity. Over here, yeah, I do see some wildfires going on here up in Western Canada. So let's go to the Storm Prediction Center next. Day 1, there's a few areas of marginal. Let's look at Day 2. Nothing too crazy for Day 2. Marginal in the Great Lakes. When we go to Day 3, nothing really crazy there either. So it seems like the severe weather seems to, has been quieted down a little bit with what we have. Let's go to the models, and we will talk about our weather this weekend. So we've got this high that's the Atlantic Ridge pretty much here that we're going to have here. That's going to keep it's in the humid pattern. A chance of showers and thunderstorms perhaps. And then on Sunday we start to see a little bit of drier but hotter air working from the west. There you see there's Beryl making a landfall right at the border, right there. But the heat will continue in the west. If we look at the temperature anomaly chart here, you'll see really hot conditions tomorrow, particularly Northern California up to Oregon. That just continues. And it starts spreading into British Columbia, too. You notice that as we get into next week. So that's gonna be very bad. There could be a lot of... I think we're going to start seeing some more fires break out because of this. I really do. But anyway, let's go put this back to this, and we will go back into our area, look at the HRRR, and take a look and see when the chance of rain is going to be. Now, we do have a chance of showers and thunderstorms tonight. Now, I don't think anything will be too intense. Tomorrow could be a pop-up shower in the morning, and then maybe another one toward later in the afternoon. A pop-up shower, a thunderstorm. And then as we get into Saturday, this is as far out as we go for Saturday, but it's not really showing a whole lot developing here. You're still in the influence of the Atlantic Ridge. You can see it here. Pretty strong Atlantic Ridge offshore there. We can look at the NAM3 as well. Don't have enough of the zeros again. Now, the NAM is more active, of course, so the NAM has a little... Not really. Got a little more going on maybe Friday morning, but maybe a very isolated shower, thunderstorm tomorrow night. Saturday, we could see possibly a line develop, maybe over New Jersey. But other than that, I mean, I'm not really impressed with what I'm seeing. That's why the Storm Prediction Center hasn't really put us in any risk category for this weekend. But it doesn't mean we won't get a thunderstorm. So just means they probably won't be severe. Dew points and wind flow, let's look at that right now because we're definitely in the humidity. We got the southwest flow continues tomorrow, so that means it'll be humid everywhere, but if you're inland like Jersey, you're going to be broiling in the 90s, while we'll be dealing with low to mid 80s here on Long Island, and probably even cooler than that on the South Shore. But you see those dew points are pretty high, upper 70s, and not upper 70s, low 70s. Thank God it's not upper 70s. Maybe even some mid 70 degree dew points on Saturday. You can see what's setting up, though, a little bit of a boundary here. And this is why I think maybe Saturday is going to be a more active day, and we'll see if they increase that, because you do have a boundary here where you have drier air off to the west, not necessarily cooler air, but this could act as a dry line, and then much more humid air with dew points in the mid-70s to the east of this boundary. So Saturday could be a little more on the active side, I think. Temperatures for tomorrow, inland, yeah, it's going to be pretty hot inland. 90s for much of New Jersey. Probably New York City as well, getting at 90, but you're probably going to be in the mid to maybe even upper 90s in Jersey. Long Island, a lot cooler, particularly Suffolk County, low 80s, and then probably more like mid 80s in Nassau, maybe some upper 80s, central northern Nassau, and then at night, obviously not going to cool off much, and then we do the same thing on Saturday. So, yeah, it's going to be broiling if you're in Jersey. It's going to be absolutely horrible. Not so bad here. So, that's the key. It may even be a 100-degree reading in Jersey. So we're really lucky that we're not dealing with that kind of heat. Let's go and look at... now that we've done that, I want to go to the GFS so we can take a look at the rest of your weekend here. Obviously, this is the GFS. You see that? So you see the heat off to the west there, much cooler over Long Island. And then Sunday, notice that it's warmer on Long Island now. We've got upper 80s, perhaps close to 90 everywhere. And that is because if we look at the wind direction, there's more of a westerly flow. And the humidity will be a little less, but it's going to be hotter. So dew points will probably be in the mid-60s, but it will be hotter because of that westerly wind on Sunday. So Sunday is probably going to be the hottest day, but it's also going to be, I think, the nicest day as far as, sunshine levels go. I'll have the least amount of clouds. And I'm not saying it'll be a blue sky, but you'll have the least amount of clouds that day. So speaking of clouds, we'll go to the RGM model now, and we'll look at the skies here. So for tomorrow, yeah, there'll be some clouds around, obviously, some mid-high level clouds. Maybe it'll be hazy as well. Saturday, we see more clouds, I think. We'll see more clouds. And then Sunday, it's still showing a lot of clouds over us, perhaps, because of this front is going to get kind of hung up. So this is the RGM. Obviously, this is this far out. You may have some differences of opinion here. Oh, that's not going to go far enough out. I don't really have enough models that'll really take me that far out. We can go to the GFS, which is obviously lower resolution. You can see, there's like a stalled boundary of clouds over us. So mainly be high, upper level clouds. So you won't really get any blue sky with I guess I was hoping I maybe get some bluer sky at that day, but it's just going to mean there'll be more sun and not so much shower chances, and the humidity will be a little bit lower. Other than that, so not going to talk about next week here. I think that just about covers everything. So we can look at Ventus Sky, look at Cape, I guess, and see if we have any Cape for the next couple of days here. We'll just put this on 2 o'clock and put that to tomorrow. She's showing some Cape over Jersey. With that kind of heat, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a strong storm that could pop up in New Jersey, because these Cape values are pretty decent. Here's Saturday. And they get this boundary here, too, as well. So that's going to make things interesting for Saturday. But other than that, you just have to pay attention to the radar. It's not going to be terrible, but it will be humid, and it's not going to be, this is what the sky looks like today. This is, just yucky, hazy, messy sky. Nothing really too nice at all. So, anyway, I think that's going to wrap up this Long Island weather update. Happy 4th of July, and good night.